you all would have done Flash animation in Year 9. Year 10, we're going to go a fair bit further than that and look at Flash programming. And the difference between animation and programming will become quite obvious, but just wait and see. So, first thing we're going to do for our very first program, we're going to go to File, New, and make sure ActionScript 3 is selected. Now we can just accept the defaults for width, height, background color, and these other settings. And because we're just doing a very simple, very simple program first up. So click OK. Now in the past, in Year 9, you would have put ActionScript in a particular layer on your timeline. So you've got your timeline panel here. By default, you've got layer 1. You probably would have called that actions or something like that, close to that. And you would have put your ActionScript on the timeline, on a frame, the first frame of your actions layer. So you would have made sure your cursor was on the first frame of the actions layer. You want to go into actions and you type your code. So a very simple bit of code is just to say hi, using the trace function. We'll talk about the trace function later. That's what we were doing, and it's fine, perfectly fine for animation and also, I guess, fairly basic programming. But putting ActionScript on the actions layer on the timeline comes into issues because you've got all your code scattered on these action layers. So you might have code, depending on what you're doing, you might have code on frame 25, and you might have another scene with another actions layer, and you'd have code in that first frame of that actions layer in another scene. And if you have several scenes and different frames, you've got code everywhere. And it starts to get really messy once you start looking at complex programs. So we want to avoid putting code in the actions layer on the timeline. So we'll just delete that. Actually, we'll copy that, save some time. Okay, so instead of we can actually delete this layer because we're not going to use it. Instead of putting code in the actions layer on the timeline, what we're going to use is a document class. First, we have to create a document class, which is quite simple. Before we go further, we're going to save our Flash file. And it is important what you name your Flash files. So just go File, Save As, and just call it hi. Hi.fla. So you can just type hi, save. We wanted to create a document class where we're going to put all our ActionScript. So to do that, make sure you've selected the stage. Now, to select the stage, just click on the blank area. So off your stage, I meant. Okay, so to the right here on the properties panel, this is where we're going to put the name of our document class. You'll see this tooltip that comes up. It says document class. Now you want to give the class name you type in here should be the same as your Flash action file, just to keep everything consistent and orderly. So just type in hi again and press enter. Okay, now don't worry about this warning, this is expected. So it says a definition for the document class could not be found in the class path. So one will be automatically generated in the SWF file upon export. Don't show again. So you can select that don't show again, but we'll just click OK. So don't worry about that, that's fine. All it means is we're just creating a new class, new document class. We created a class, but we don't actually see it. So then you have to click on this little pencil icon up here. Okay, so there's our document class, and just save that. Actually, save all. Always good to save regularly. Okay, so this is our first document class. Pretty good.